Okay. So hello guys, another accounting video again, another day, another sakit ng ulo po na naman tayo today. So let's go, let's start. For this video discussion, let's talk about employee benefits. So sa employee benefits natin, PAS 19 usually yung standard na ginagamit, although merong instances na it applies PAS 26, pero let's focus on PAS 19 muna for this video discussion. So ano nga ba si employee benefits? Employee benefits are considerations given by an entity. Kapag sinabing entity, we are talking about the employer. Okay, employer yan, or shortcutin na lang natin, tawagin natin siya as ER, short for employer. Okay, employee benefits, from the word itself, benefits. Kaninong benefit? Kay employee. Si employee, tawagin natin siya as EE, in short for employee. Okay, employee benefits are benefits or considerations given by an employer in exchange for services rendered by an employee. So, nagbigay ng benefit si employer. Bakit? Kasi nagbigay ng services si employees. So, parang sahod lang ito. Parang vacation leaves lang ito. Parang mga termination benefits lang ito. Actually, yun yung discussion natin for today. Okay? Now, employee benefits, ang general rule natin dyan, dito tayo. General rule, any employee benefits incurred by an employer from its employees are an expense account. So, expense employee benefits. Exception to this general rule, it can be capitalizable to inventory. Kailan siya capitalizable kay inventory? Kapag yung salary or yung benefit na binigay kay employee is part ng cost of goods sold natin. So, nasa cost accounting na part yon. Kung mapapansin mo, meron tayo ng factory overhead, manufacturing overhead that are relevant sa cost ng inventory natin. Kasama yun sa cost of goods sold mo. If isa doon si employee benefit, part siya ng inventory. Pero ang general rule natin, expense muna si employee benefits. Nakuha yun? Employee benefits are expense, okay? Ngayon, kapag usapang expenses, syempre, anong entry mo dyan? Let's say, for example, nag-render ng service si employee. Magkano daw yung employee benefit na ibibigay mo? Sabihin na natin 10,000 pesos. Sabihin na natin binayaran mo. Anong entry mo dyan? Employee, debit ka ng employee benefit expense, EBE muna. Credit ka ng ano? Credit ka ng cash. Magkano? Let's say for example, 10,000 pesos. Binayaran mo. Paano sir kapag hindi ko binayaran? Anong entry natin dyan? Same lang din. Debit ka lang ng employee benefit expense but hindi mo binayaran. So hindi ka nag-credit ng cash. Anong credit natin dito? Credit ka ng accrued liability. Magkano yung accrued liability mo? 10,000 pesos. Instead na nagbayad ka ng cash, magre-recognize ka ng liability kasi nga meron ka ng obligasyon bayaran yung benefit na ibinigay mo na or supposed to be ibibigay mo kay employee. Sir, paano pag hindi ako nagbayad? Or let's say for example, nagbayad ako. Yung employee benefit expense ko lang supposed to be is 10,000 pesos, pero yung binayaran ko 12,000 pesos. Ano magiging entry ko doon? Same lang din. Magkano yung expense mo? 10,000. Debit ka ng employee benefit expense, 10,000. Magkano binayaran mo? Yung binayaran ko na cash, sir, 12,000 pesos. So, kulang yung debit and credit ko eh. Nasaan yung debit? Ano yung ilalagay ko sa debit? Kung dito, pag meron kang hindi binayaran, nag-credit ka ng accrued liability, kapag nagbayad ka in advance, anong tawag natin dyan? Tawagin natin siya as prepaid asset. So, debit ka ng prepaid asset amounting to 2,000 pesos. So, ganyan lang yan. Ganyan lang yung basic muna sa employee benefits. So, expense yan. So, pag nagbayad ka, debit ka ng expense, credit ka ng cash. Simpleng accounting, simpleng journal entry. Pag hindi mo binayaran ng cash, meron kang liability, debit ka ng expense, credit ka ng liability. Pag hindi ka nagbayad, or sobra yung binayaran mo, para kang nag-advance payment, meron ka ngayong prepaid asset. Okay? Ulitin natin, employee benefits are any benefits that are given to the employee by the employer. Sir, ibig sabihin ba ng benefits na binigay, cash lang? Kasi ito yung credit lang na binayaran mo, cash. No. It can be in any form. Pwedeng non-cash assets. Pwedeng yung binigay mo, inventory, as long as part ng employee benefits. As long as benefit siya ni employee, but para saan? Kasi nag-render ng service. Pwedeng PPE. Pwede rin din yun. Okay, nakuha mo yun? Sige. Ngayon, for employee benefits, PAS 19, there are 4 categories. 4 yan. Meron tayong mnemonics, yan yung spot natin. S stands for short-term employee benefits, P for post-employment benefits, O for other long-term benefits, and T for termination benefits. Isa-isahin natin yung differences when it terms of their definition. Okay? Kapag usapang short-term benefits, from the word itself, short-term, babayaran mo yung employee benefits na yan within 12 months. Okay? Babayaran mo siya within 12 months. And kapag short-term employee benefit, always remember, we does not need or hindi natin kailangan si actuarial valuation and si discounting. Si discounting, hindi mo kailangan kasi nga short-term. Kailan ka ba nagdi-discount? Pag sinabing discounting, present value. Kailan ka nagpe-present value ng cash natin or ng pera na supposed to be babayaran mo? Kapag long-term. Dito nga, short-term tayo, babayaran mo yung benefit within 12 months, hindi mo kailangan ng discounting. Sir, ano yung actuarial valuation? Si actuarial valuation, tandaan mo na lang muna na meron tayong term na actuarial valuation. Mamaya i-discuss natin yan pagdating natin pag mas lumalim tayo sa employee benefits. Okay, basta pag short-term employee benefits, hindi mo kailangang mag-actuarial valuation, hindi mo kailangan ng discounting. Okay, examples ng short-term employee benefits mo. Ito, SSS. Merong benefit na ibinigay kay employer, babayaran niya yung SSS ni employee. SSS supposed to be, usually, babayaran mo yan within 12 months, mga government mandatory contributions. Let's say, for example, PhilHealth din and Pag-ibig, anong tawag dyan? Short-term employee benefits. Okay? O, ito pa, merong instances, meron benefit na binigay, babayaran mo daw yung vacation leave and sick leave kasi daw it can be monetized. So, paid VL or sick leave, let's say, for example din, nag-leave pero bayad. So, nagbayad ka pa rin ng cash. Anong tawag mo doon? Short-term employee benefit kasi usually babayaran mo siya for less than 12 months. And any other non-monetary benefits. Tandaan mo pwedeng non-monetary. Hindi lang tayo limited for cash payments dito sa employee benefits. Okay? So yan si short-term employee benefit. Definitions lang muna tayo. Ulitin ko, short-term employee benefits are benefits given by employer to the employee that are usually to be paid or expected to be paid within 12 months. Okay, meron tayong post-employment benefit. Ano si post-employment benefit? Ang examples ni post-employment benefits are retirement benefits and life insurance or medical care. Pag post-employment benefit, tatandaan mo na lang lagi, this is considered as a long-term benefit. So kapag long-term benefit yan, babayaran mo siya for a period of more than 12 months. And example ulit ng post-employment benefit mo, retirement benefit. Huwag ka nang malilito. Paano naging post-employment yung retirement benefit? From the word itself, post-employment. Tapos ka nang nagtrabaho pero binibigyan ka pa rin ng benepisyo ng employer mo. Kaya nga post, after employment. After employment, meron ka pang benefit. Anong benefit yon? Retirement benefits. Life insurance or medical care. Okay? Post-employment benefit. Yan yung definition ng post-employment benefit. Next, tayo. Other long-term benefits. Ang definition lang ni other long-term benefit is a residual definition. Paano residual definition? Ano ba yung mga long-term natin? It's either P, O, or T lang. It's either post-employment, other long-term, and termination benefit. If yung definition hindi pumasok sa post-employment benefit, hindi siya retirement benefit, hindi rin siya termination benefit, saan siya? Other long-term benefits tayo. Ano mga usual example ng other long-term benefits? Ito yan, long-term compensated absences or yung sabbatical leave na tinatawag. Ano yung sabbatical leave na tinatawag natin? Usually, mayroon tayong tinatawag na study leave. Si study leave, bayad ka daw na leave, babayaran mo daw siya in long-term sabbatical leave. Long-term compensated absences. Or ito, samples, long service benefit or yung Jubilee. Jubilee yan, hindi yan Jollibee, Jubilee. Ano ibig sabihin ng Jubilee? Kapag sa employee, merong instances na kapag tumagal ka daw sa employer mo, let's say for example, nagtrabaho ka sa kanila for a period of 10 years, meron ka ng loyalty award. Loyalty award or long service benefit, meron kang tatawagin na benefit na binibigay sa'yo, which is yung Jubilee. Okay? Nag-render ng services. Pero kailan mo babayaran yung Jubilee award? After 5 years. Pag 5 years, nandun pa rin siya. So, anong tawag dyan? Long-term benefit. Hindi siya post-employment kasi nagtatrabaho ka pa nung binigay yung benefit. Hindi siya termination benefit kasi hindi ka naman na-terminate nung binigay yung benefit. So, alin siya? Long-term benefit siya. Hindi siya part ng short-term benefit kasi babayaran mo siya for a period of more than 12 months. Okay? Babayaran mo siya hindi ngayong taon. Hindi current year. Okay? Yun lang yung definition. Okay, tayo, termination benefits. Ano ngayon sa termination benefit? These are benefits that results from, dalawa lang yan, it's either entity's decision to terminate the employee before normal retirement date. Okay, inalis ka sa trabaho, pero hindi ka nag-retire. Inalis ka lang. Terminated ka nga. Okay, kapag terminated ka, pag sinabing terminated, pag mong pagkaibahin na, paano sir pag umalis ako ng gusto ko lang? So magkaiba yung definition natin ng resignation, okay, and termination. Magkaiba yung definition yan. Pag termination, tinanggal ka ni employee or ni employer. Pag resignation, umalis ka ng kusa as an employee. Ang sinasabi dito sa termination benefit, benefits na binigay kasi na-terminate ka. Inalis ka ni employer. Okay, these are, let's say for example, number one example ng termination benefits natin, retrenchment. Okay? Hindi ka nala kailangan, nagbabawas ng cost. Yun yung mga yon. B, benefits. Termination benefits are benefits that are given to an employee. Bakit daw nagkaroon ng benefits si employee? Kasi si employee daw binigyan ng decision or ng choice to accept the employer's offer of benefits in exchange for termination. Sir, kusang loob ni employee yan. Hindi ba yan resignation? Hindi pa yan part ng resignation. Part pa rin daw yan ng termination benefit. Ano bang kwento dito sa letter B? Parang kwento sa letter B, employee, sabi ni employer, ako si employer, sabi ikaw si employee. Sabi ko, employee, kailangan ko magbawas ng cost eh. Sana maintindihan mo. Ngayon, meron kang choices. Meron kang choice. It's either aalisin kita after 12 months hanggang sa makahanap ka ng trabaho mo, whichever is shorter, or aalis ka na within this month pero bibigyan kita ng 1 million peso benefit. Parang ganun. It's either of the two, aalisin ka. Binigyan ka lang ng mas better option, ikaw ang mamimili, or bibigyan ka lang ng options kung alin sa tingin mo yung mas better sa'yo. Ito yung sinasabi sa letter B. Sa letter A naman, terminate ka na. Tapos binigyan ka ng compensation benefit. Termination benefit ang tawag doon. Accounted for siya as termination benefit. Ito naman, binigyan ka ng choice. Umalis ka ng kusa, pero meron isa lang yung magiging end goal eh. Aalisin ka talaga. Nakuha mo yon? Sige. Magkaiba ulit ha. Termination and resignation. Sir, paano pag nag-resign? Okay, paano pag nag-resign? Part ba ng termination benefit? Hindi. Saan siya? Saan siya benefits? Anong klaseng benefits siya dito sa 4 categories? Tignan mo ngayon. Okay, long term ba? Pag long term, part ng other long term benefit. Paano pag short term? Di short term employee benefit. Sir, pwede bang maging pwede ba siya maging post-employment benefit? Hindi. Bakit? Kailan ba binigay yung trabaho? Kailan ba binigay yung benefit? Nung nag-resign ka. Hindi ka binigyan ng benefit nung after mong mag-resign. Nakuha mo yon. Okay, ulitin lang natin definition. Pag short-term employee benefit, babayaran mo yan. It's either within 12 months. Post-employment, other long-term and termination benefit, usually, hindi all, usually long-term benefits. Ang difference lang, si other long-term benefit, residual definition. Si post-employment, binigyan ka ng benefit nung kahit tapos ka nang magtrabaho. Termination benefit, naka-receive ka ng benefit kasi tinanggal ka ni employer. Definitions lang muna. Yan yung differences sa mga definitions natin ng 4 categories of employee benefits. So, let's proceed. Siyempre, hindi naman tayo magpo-focus sa definitions kasi nga, ano yung course natin? Accountancy. So, dito tayo magpo-focus. Accounting. Paano natin i-account si employee benefits in accordance with PAS 19? Okay? Isa-isahin natin. Si short-term employee benefits. Okay? Short-term employee benefits are benefits that are recognized as expense after the employee has rendered service. Okay? Sir, paano mo yan i-account? Kapag hindi mo binayaran, it's either meron kang accrued liability. Pag sobra yung binayaran mo, meron kang i-debit na prepaid asset. Sir, parang familiar dun sa diniscuss mo kaninang entry. Yes, yung entry na diniscuss ko kanina, yun din yung entry na gagawin natin for short-term employee benefits. So, ang rule lang natin sa accounting for short-term employee benefits, the moment na ma-render yung service ni employee, magre-recognize ka na ng expense. Yun lang. Ganun lang kadali. Short-term employee benefits. Okay, ngayon, dito lang medyo meron ka lang kailangan tandaan. Okay? Ulitin ko pag unpaid, accrued liability. Kapag advance payment, prepaid asset. Huwag ka lang malilito dito sa prepaid asset Let's say for example, in the year 2021, sabihin na natin in the year 2021, ang nangyari, nagbayad ka or nag-render ng service sa'yo si employee. So, supposed to be meron ka ng expense of 10,000 pesos. Ang binayaran mo lang dyan is nasa 8,000 pesos. So, nag-credit ka ng cash of 8,000. So, meron ka ngayong accrued liability of 2,000 pesos. Nakuha mo yon. So, 2021, yung expense mo 10K, ang binayaran mo lang 8K, liability mo 2,000. In the year 2022, sabihin natin 2022, yung expense mo pa rin, fixed pa rin yung expense mo, 10,000 pa rin. Ang binayaran mo magkano? 12,000 pesos. So, nagbayad ka ng cash of 12,000 pesos. Uy, sobra yung binayaran ko. So, meron ka ba dapat prepaid asset? No. Huwag mong i-assume na prepaid asset agad yan. Bakit? Kasi meron ka pang liability in the last year. Possible na kaya ka sobra ng 2,000 dito kasi binayaran mo yung liability na yan. So, instead na mag-debit ka ng prepaid asset, ano i-debit mo muna? I-recognize mo muna yung accrued liability. So, debit ka ng accrued liability of 2,000 pesos. Nakuha mo yon? Okay, so debit ka lang ng expense ulit, nag-credit ka ng cash. Sobra yung binayaran mong cash. Ang sabi mo sir kanina, pag sobra yung binayaran mong cash, mag-debit ka ng prepaid asset. Yun yung general rule. Exception to the rule, pag nag-recognize ka na before ng accrued liability. Kung meron kang accrued liability before, may utang ka pa rin ng 2022. Kaya sobra yung binayaran mo ng 12,000 kasi yung utang mo na 2,000 last year, binayaran mo this year. Kaya ang i-debit mo, accrued liability. Nakuha mo yon? Okay. So, ganun lang yun ha. Okay, ngayon, dito tayo. Meron tayong tinatawag na short-term paid absences. Ano yung short-term paid absences na yan? Yan yung vacation leave and yung sick leave natin. Okay, let's say for example, binigyan ka ng vacation leave and sick leave. Under the Labor Code of the Philippines, I think nasa 5 days minimum each year ang vacation and sick leave natin. Okay? Just correct me if I'm wrong. Pero yun yung pagkakatanda ko. Ngayon, pag-usapang short-term paid absences, meron tayong dalawa. Pwede daw na yung paid absence mo is accumulating or non-cumulating paid absences. And si accumulating naman daw, dalawa din yan. Pwede daw vesting and non-vesting. Anong differences? Kapag accumulating yung paid absences mo, any unused leaves can be carried forward in the next year. Anong ibig sabihin nun, sir? Parang sinabi na, let's say for example, in the year 2021, okay, in the year 2021, meron kang 5 days of vacation leave. Hindi mo nagamit yan ng 2021. 2022, each year bibigyan ka ng 5 days. 2022, bibigyan ka ng 5 days ulit na sick leave or vacation leave. Meron kang hindi nagamit na 5 days dito. Mag-a-accumulate daw yan ng 2022. So, yung total vacation leave mo ng 2022 is nasa 10 days na. Kasi nga, accumulating. Kapag non-cumulating naman, ang sinabi pag non-cumulating, any unused leaves will expire if it is not used in the current period. So parang sinabi na let's say for example, non-cumulating tayo, meron kang leave na 5 days. 2022, bibigyan ka na naman ng additional leave of 5 days. Meron ka bang additional leave na 5 days pa rin dito kasi hindi mo nagamit yung 5 days na to? No. So yung leave mo lang ng 2022 is nasa 5 days pa rin. Nakuha mo yon? Yun yung difference. Pag accumulating, tapos non-cumulating. Huwag ka nang malilito. Familiar ka na siguro sa term natin na accumulated depreciation. Doon sa accumulated depreciation, nag-a-accumulate, nagsasama-sama yung depreciation mo from year 1 up to this year. Same lang din dito. Kaya accumulating, nagsasama-sama lang ulit yung leave mo from year 1 up to this year. Accumulating absences. Non-cumulating naman tayo kapag nga nag-e-expire. So parang sinasabi na pag non-cumulating, pag may leave ka, dapat gamitin mo. Kasi hindi mo na yun magagamit in the next year. Sa accumulating, sige, wag mo munang gamitin this year, pwede mo pa namang gamitin yan next year. Okay, ngayon si accumulating dalawa, pwedeng vesting and non-vesting. Yan yung accounting terms. Pag sinabi daw na vesting yung accumulating, it can be monetized. Paano it can be monetized? Let's say for example, dito sa 2022, meron kang unused leaves, unused paid leaves of 10 days. In the year 2022, nag-resign ka. Nag-resign ka, hindi mo nagamit yung 10 days. Ano daw gagawin daw sa 10 days? Pwede daw siyang palitan or bayaran sa'yo ng pera. It can be monetized, vesting ang tawag dyan. Pag non-vesting naman, it cannot be monetized. Paano it cannot be monetized? Sabi daw, yung 10 days na yan na unused leave mo na yan, hindi ko yan babayaran sa'yo ng pera pag hindi mo nagamit. Pero pwede mong gamitin. Parang gano'n ang sinasabi. Okay, yun yung difference. Pag vesting, it can be monetized. Pag non-vesting, it cannot be monetized. Huwag ka na rin malilito. Kasi nandyan na rin yan sa term natin, sa word natin. Kaya tinawag na it can be monetized. Vesting, nag-i-invest ka. Nagkakaroon ka ng investment, pero ang profit, it can be monetized. Pag non-vesting, hindi ka nag-i-invest, it cannot be monetized. Yun lang. Accumulating ulit, hindi nag-e-expire yung leave mo. So, pwede mo siyang magamit next year kung meron kang unused leave. Yung non-cumulating, gamitin mo daw dapat yan. Kasi pag hindi mo raw nagamit, hindi mo daw yan magagamit next year. So, bakit importante, sir, na malaman ko yung differences ng term na yan? Accumulating and non-cumulating. Ito ngayon yan. Kapag accumulating yung leave mo natin, always remember, okay, this is a liability. Okay, paano liability, sir? For example, 2021, meron kang 5 days, hindi nagamit. So, wala kang expense. Okay, hindi nagamit, wala kang expense, wala kang liability. Okay, kaso accumulating. So, kaso accumulating. So, magagamit mo pa rin siya 2022. So, possible magamit ulit siya. So, instead, para lang maging conservative tayo, mag-recognize ka na ng liability. Kasi in the other place, magagamit at makagamit mo pa rin naman siya kasi nga, accumulating siya. Okay, paano pag non-cumulating? Nag-expire eh. Kung nag-expire, hindi na siya magagamit in the future. So, wala ka ng obligasyon na bayaran sa kanila yung vacation leave or yung sick leave na yun. Kaya, si non-cumulating, this is not a liability. Okay, yan yung importance. Kaya kailangan mong malaman kung accumulating yung paid leave or non-cumulating. Kasi nga, pag accumulating, it is a liability. Pag non-cumulating, it is not a liability. Okay? Bakit kailangan ko naman, sir, malaman kung vesting or non-vesting? Kapag vesting kasi, okay, kapag vesting tayo, remember mo to, kapag vesting tayo, all vacation leave, all unused vacation or sick leave is part of a liability. Pero pag non-vesting kasi tayo, you will only estimate. Okay? You just needed to estimate kung sino yung gagamit ng vacation leave or kung sino yung hindi gagamit. Bakit, sir, kailangan mong i-estimate? Kasi nga, hindi naman mamomonetize. Okay? Kasi dito, kung mamomonetize ito, meron ka ng obligasyon, si employer meron ng obligasyon na magbayad ng leave in the other place. Okay? Regardless kung gamitin, regardless kung hindi, kung it can be monetized, babayaran mo yan, mag-resign man siya o hindi. Pag non-vesting tayo, yes, accumulating, so magagamit mo pa rin siya in the next year, pero yung mga unused leave mo bago ka mag-resign, hindi na mababayaran sa'yo ng pera. So yung option mo na lang, it's either gamitin natin. So i-estimate mo ngayon dito, magkano or ilan yung gagamit nung unused leave. Okay? Nakuha mo yun? Nakuha mo yun? Sige, let's say for example, ito ulit, example natin. 2021, meron kang unused leave of 5 days. 2022, binigyan ka ulit ng additional 5 days, so meron ka ng total of 10 days. Nung 10 days natin, let's say for example, 1,000 peso per day ka. So 1,000 peso times 10 days, this is equal to 10,000 pesos of supposed to be liability. Okay? Kapag vesting, ilagay natin vesting. Kapag vesting tayo, yung entry mo dyan, debit ka na ng employee benefit expense of 10,000 pesos, credit ka na ng liability of 10,000 pesos. Bakit? Kasi nga babayaran mo yan kahit anong mangyari. Magamit man or hindi. Kasi nga, it can be monetized. Paano pag non-vesting? Okay, pag non-vesting, i-estimate mo. Sabihin na natin na bago mag-resign si employee, bago umalis si employee, 90% niyan is yung gagamit. Or 90% nung leave, unused leave na 10 days, yun lang yung maggamit. So, magkano yung 90% ng 10,000 pesos? Nasa 9,000 lang. So, yung magiging entry mo lang dito, debit ka ng employee benefit expense, credit ka ng liability of 9,000 pesos. Ganun lang. Nagkaroon lang tayo ng estimation. Pero basically, yung journal entry natin, it's just the same. Kapag accumulating, regardless kung vesting or non-vesting. Ang difference lang, pag non-vesting, kailangan mo ngang mag-estimate ilan sa kanila yung gagamit nung unused leave. Kasi nga, hindi naman mababayaran sa kanila ng cash or ng pera. Okay tayo? Okay. Yun si short-term employee benefit. Very basic lang si short-term employee benefit. Pag it's Simply, mag-recognize ka lang ng expense, mag-credit ka lang ng liability kung unused, mag-credit ka ng cash if paid, or mag-debit ka lang ng prepaid asset if unused. Nakuha? Next, number 2. Long-term benefits tayo. Sir, ispat eh. Dapat P muna post-employment. Mamaya yung post-employment. Okay? Medyo complicated kasi ng konti. So, unahin muna natin to. Long-term benefits. Accounting for long-term employee benefits. Paano mo siya i-account? This is accounted for like post-employment benefit. Ayun. So, kung alam mo na kung paano gamitin or paano yung accounting sa post-employment benefit, alam mo na din kung paano i-account si long-term benefits. So, mag-focus tayo sa post-employment benefit mamayang konti. Okay? Exception lang daw. Parang employee benefit daw siya or parang post-employment benefit daw siya, except that all the components of defined benefit cost are recognized in profit or loss. So, ganyan lang muna. Isipin mo na lang muna na lahat daw ng components ng defined benefit cost ko is i-recognize ko sa profit or loss. Mamaya i-differentiate natin pag nasa post-employment benefit na tayo. Okay tayo dyan. Next tayo, termination benefits. Okay? Sa termination benefits, tignan mo. Meron kasing instances na si termination benefit, babayaran mo siya within 12 months. Pag babayaran mo daw siya within 12 months, simple lang. Yung accounting daw natin is parang short-term employee benefits. Pasok ka ngayon dito sa tinuro ko sa number 1. Paano daw kapag payable beyond 12 months? Pag payable siya beyond 12 months, pasok ka daw sa accounting natin for long-term benefits. Pasok ka ngayon dito sa number 2 natin. Paano daw pag enhancement to post-employment benefits? Same lang daw siya ng accounting ulit natin for post-employment benefits. So basically, parang sinasabi sa termination benefits, pag alam mo yung short-term employee benefits, pag alam mo yung long-term benefits, alam mo yung post-employment benefits, basic sa'yo si termination benefits. Ang mas maganda doon, pag alam mo yung post-employment benefits, alam mo na yung long-term employee benefits. So balang sinasabi dito sa PAS 19 employee benefits, ang aralin mo lang yung number 1, short-term employee benefits, and yung number 2, yung post-employment benefits. Pag alam mo yung dalawa na yun, alam mo na rin si long-term benefits, alam mo na rin si termination benefits. Okay. So ngayon, let's go sa post-employment benefits. So ano ba meron si Pipe sa post-employment benefits? Post-employment benefits usually is in a form of retirement plans or pension schemes. Okay? Retirement plans yan, kaya nga post-employment. So meron kayong retirement plan or pension schemes. Ang kwento kay post-employment benefits, ang nangyayari dito dito sa post-employment benefits, si employer nagko-contribute. Okay, si employer nagko-contribute, tapos yung contribution niya mapupunta yun kay employee the moment na si employee nag-retire. Let's say for example, nasa 60 years old na or more than 60 years old na, forced retirement na tayo doon, hindi na pwede magtrabaho si employer or si employee. Sabi daw, huwag kang mag-alala, bibigyan ka namin ng benefits. Anong tawag doon? Retirement benefits. So, para daw ma-accommodate yung supposed to be babayaran mo sa mga employee mo the moment na mag-retire sila, nagtatabi ka na ng pera. Nag-i-invest ka na sa isang fund. Anong tawag dun sa fund na yun? Retirement plans daw. Okay? Ngayon, si post-employment benefits, usually ine-explain yan bago ka maging empleyado. So, nasa kontrata, i-explain yan sa'yo ng HR mo. Okay, i-explain sa'yo yan. Ito yung mga benefits na ibinibigay natin sa'yo. Ibibigay namin sa'yo. Meron kang health benefits, meron kang paid leaves, meron kang vacation leaves. One of which na i-discuss is yung retirement benefit mo, which is yung post-employment benefit natin. Okay, dalawa ngayon yan. Si post-employment benefit, pwede daw maging formal. Pag formal yung post-employment benefit, ang meaning lang, ang definition lang yan, meron daw tayong kontrata. Okay, meron sa contract, nakasaad sa contract na meron kang post-employment benefits na let's say for example 10 million pesos, ang tawag doon formal. Paano pag informal? Pag informal, meron pa rin post-employment benefit pero wala sa kontrata. Pero bakit merong informal? Based lang ito sa past practice. Okay, let's say for example, in the past 10 years, nagbibigay ng post-employment benefits sa employer, sa mga employees niya, ikaw na new hire next year or this year, meron ka na rin, i-assume mo na rin meron kang post-employment benefit kahit wala sa kontrata mo. Kasi nga, yun na yung nakaugalian ni employer. Okay? So, dalawa pwedeng formal or informal. Ngayon, it's either, regardless kung formal or informal, si post-employment benefits is pwedeng maging contributory, pwedeng maging non-contributory, pwedeng maging funded, or pwedeng maging unfunded. Anong difference? Pag contributory tayo, si employer and si employee nagko-contribute. Okay? Employer and employee nagko-contribute. Okay, sa post-employment benefit guys, okay, post-employment benefit, ang general rule natin, yung nagko-contribute doon sa fund, sa retirement plan natin, si employer. Kasi employer ang may sagot doon. Meron lang instances, meron lang mga stipulations na si employee din magko-contribute. Pero huwag kang mag-alala. Kasi pag nag-contribute ka, malamang sa malamang, mas malaki yung retirement benefit na ma-receive mo compare doon sa kapag si employer lang yung nagbigay or nag-contribute. So kapag contributory, si employer, tapos si employee may share. Okay, yun yung contributory. Pag non-contributory, yung nagbabayad lang dito is si employer lang. Pag funded naman, si funded, kapag sinabi natin funded, yung nagmamanage ng plan natin is si trustee or third party. So parang ang sinasabi dito, nagko-contribute si employer. Kanina nagko-contribute si employer? Sa isang trustee. Si trustee, siya yung nagmamanage ng funds. Siya yung mag-i-invest, nasa kanya yung pera, wala kay employer. Paano pag unfunded? Pag unfunded, si employer yung nagmamanage ng fund. Okay, yun lang yung differences nila. So let's say for example, si Mr. P nag-promise kay Mr. A, si employee, na meron siyang retirement plan in exchange for the service of Mr. A. Ngayon, let's say for example, si Mr. A nagko-contribute. So si employee or Mr. A nagko-contribute sa fund. Anong tawag doon sa fund na yon? Contributory. Let's say for example, si employee hindi nagko-contribute sa fund. Anong tawag natin doon? Non-contributory. Okay, let's say for example, Mr. P, si Mr. P, yung employer, siya yung may hawak ng fund. Siya yung nagmamanage ng fund. Anong tawag natin dyan? Unfunded. Let's say for example, hindi si Mr. P yung nagmamanage ng fund. Ininvest niya sa isang trustee. Si trustee yung may hawak ng fund. Anong tawag natin dyan? Funded tayo. Ganun lang yun, kasimple. Okay? Ganun lang. Ngayon, si post-employment benefit, in accounting for post-employment benefit, dalawa yan. Pwedeng defined contribution plan and pwedeng defined benefit plan. Anong difference? Kapag defined contribution plan daw, si employee, okay, bears the risk if fund is insufficient to the promised amount. Okay? Or promised amount or the expected amount. Pag defined benefit plan naman daw, si employer daw bears the risk and will pay the deficiency over the obligation. Paano bears the risk? Paano si employee magbe-bear ng risk? Paano si employee ang magbe-bear ng risk? Hindi ko maintindihan, sir. Simple lang yan. Bigyan natin ng illustration. Let's say, for example, dito sa retirement plan na to, yung naging stipulation or naging promise ni Mr. P kay Mr. A or yung expectation ni Mr. A na marireceive niya from Mr. P na retirement plan is amounting to 1 million pesos. Yan yung expectation, 1 million pesos. Kapag defined contribution plan, yung nasa kontrato or yung nasa pangako ni Mr. P, ni employer, is magko-contribute daw siya ng 10,000 pesos. Fixed yan. Okay, fixed contribution of 10,000 pesos. What if Mr. A retired after 5 years? Ilang months ang meron sa 5 years? Times 12 mo yan. Times 12 months, this is equal to 60 months. 60 months, magkano na yung total na na-contribute ni employer? Nasa 10,000 pesos. 60 times 10,000 pesos, nasa 600,000. Magkano ulit yung ine-expect ni Mr. A na marireceive niya supposed to be? Nasa 1 million pesos. So, i-differentiate mo yan. 600,000 versus 1 million pesos, meron kang lugi. Lugi ka ng, or wag na lang loss. Deficient. Okay? Merong deficient, kulang yung kinontribute of 400,000 pesos. Kapag defined contribution plan, yung loss na yan, wala nang habol dyan si employee. Loss na yan sa point of view ni employee. Magkano yung babayaran sa'yo ni employer? Ito lang yan, 600,000. Pag defined contribution plan. Kasi ang definition ng defined contribution plan, ang usapan sa defined contribution plan, employee, bibigyan kita ng retirement plan the moment na mag-retire ka sa akin. Pero i-take note mo kasi yung i-contribute ko lang, yung ipinapromise ko lang sa'yo, magko-contribute ako ng fixed amount monthly of 10,000 pesos. Okay? Kahit na yung pinag-usap or yung expected mo is 1 million pesos, kung magkano lang yung na-contribute ko, yun lang yung marireceive mo. Yun yung defined contribution plan. Kaya nga sinabi, si employee yung mabibear ng risk kapag yung fund daw is kulang, insufficient. Yung expectation mo, 1 million pesos, Yung na-contribute lang, 600,000. Defined contribution plan tayo dito. Yung loss na 400,000, wala nang obligasyon si employer na bayaran yan sa'yo. Nakuha mo yon? O let's say for example, defined benefit plan. Sa defined benefit plan naman, yung prenamis ni employer sa'yo na 1 million pesos, yun yung obligated siyang bayaran regardless kung yung nagamit lang or yung na-contribute lang niya is 600,000. So itong 400,000 na yan, kapag defined benefit plan tayo, ang magbabayad neto si employer. Okay? Kukunin mo yan kay employer. Required bayaran yan ni employer sa'yo. Kaya sabi, employer bears the risk and will pay the deficiency over the obligation. Nakuha mo yun? So yun yung difference ha. Defined contribution plan tapos defined benefit plan. So accounting for defined contribution plan tayo. Huwag kang matatakot kay defined contribution plan kasi simple lang din ito. Okay? Simple. Entry lang ito. Kung alam mo yung, yes, post-employment benefits are long-term. Pero naalala mo yung accounting natin for short-term. Tama? Accounting natin for short-term employee benefits. Simple lang yan. Magde-debit ka lang ng employee benefit expense. Magkikredit ka ng cash the moment na mayroon ka ng expense. Magkano yung supposed to be expense mo? 10,000. Kasi yun lang yung prenamis mo. 10,000 pesos. Ganyan lang yan. Okay? Very straightforward, very simple kapag defined contribution plan. Okay, ganyan na, defined contribution plan ha. Sir, bakit ganyan yung defined contribution plan? Kasi magkano ba yung prenamis sa'yo? Okay, na babayaran niya. Tama, monthly, 10,000 pesos monthly. So, yun lang yung i-entryhan niya. Mo, yun lang yung i-recognize niya na expense. 10,000 pesos monthly. Ngayon, let's talk about defined benefit plan. Ito na ngayon yung pinaka-complicated sa employee benefits. Pero huwag kang mag-alala. Papadaliin natin yan. Pag defined benefit plan, always remember, kailangan mo na ng actuarial assumptions and kailangan mo na ng discounts. Okay? Kasi nga long-term ito. Babayaran mo to in a long-term basis. So, kailangan mo nang mag-discount. Actuarial assumptions. Ano yung actuarial assumptions? Maya-mayang konti, di-discuss natin yan. So, lagyan natin ng kwento. Okay, kwento muna. Sa defined benefit plan, si Mr. P nag-promise kay Mr. A na magbibigay siya ng retirement plan amounting to 1 million pesos. Sabi, Mr. A, huwag kang mag-alala, bibigyan kita ng 1 million pesos the moment na mag-retire ka dito. Fix yan. Fix daw yan. Kapalit daw ng service ni Mr. A kay Mr. P. Anong gagawin ni Mr. P? Si Mr. P sabi, sige, para ready tayo the moment na mag-retire si Mr. A, magko-contribute na tayo. Ayan, nagko-contribute na si Mr. P ng, let's say for example, 10,000. Okay, 10,000 pesos yung i-contribute niya dyan, hindi yan yung i-recognize mo na expense. Bakit? Kasi nga, yung dapat na ibibigay niya, 1 million pesos. Okay, Mr. P contributes amounting to 10,000 pesos. Kanino daw siya nagko-contribute? Sa isang trustee. So, anong tawag dyan? Funded tayo. Okay? Si trustee ngayon, hinahawakan yung fund. Anong gagawin ni trustee dyan sa fund na yan? Si trustee, i-invest niya yung hawak niyang pera para magkaroon ng profit. Sir, bakit kailangan ng profit? Para syempre, yung supposed to be 1 million pesos na ibibigay ni Mr. P kay Mr. A, nagiging konti na lang. Okay, kasi nga, yung fund na yan, yung profit na yan, mapupunta lang din sa fund. Yung fund na yan, kanina mapupunta kay Mr. A lang din. So, kung in case, for example, after 5 years, dun sa illustration natin, 600,000 na yung na-contribute ni Mr. P, merong profit na na-receive si trustee sa paggamit ng fund, sabihin natin 100,000. So, 600 plus 100, 700,000. Magkano na lang aabonuhan ni Mr. P? 300,000 na lang. O, diba? Ganun yun. Kaya, sabi ni Mr. P, sige, bigyan natin yan sa trustee. Ayokong mamroblema kung kanino ko i-invest, kung paano natin i-manage yung profit. Kaya trustee na natin ibigay para siya na lang yung maghanap kung kailan siya na lang yung mamroblema kung paano siya magkakaroon ng profit. Okay? Ngayon yung fund ni Mr. P. Okay, yung fund ni Mr. P, tatawagin natin yun as the fair value of plan assets. Or in short natin, FVPA yan. Sir, bakit fair value of plan assets? Kasi investment yan. Investment yan ni Mr. P. Kung investment yan, nagkakaroon yan ng profit. So, ibig sabihin, hindi yung total na na-contribute, which is 600,000 or 10,000 pesos monthly for a period of 5 years, okay, hindi yung buong 600,000. Let's say, for example, 600,000 na yung contribute. Yung 600,000 na face amount, this is not equal to the fair value of the investment. Alam mo nga, kapag nag-i-invest ka, PFRS 9, kailangan mo hanapin yung fair value at the end of the year. Tama? O, merong profit. Yung profit, papasok yan dito sa fair value nung investment natin. And possible, meron pa yung mga unrealized gain. Possible, meron yung mga unrealized loss. Yung unrealized gain or unrealized loss, papasok din yan sa fair value natin. Okay, kaya tinatawag siya as fair value of the plan assets. Okay, ulitin natin. Anong kwento ng fair value of plan asset? Yan yung total na na-contribute ni Mr. P para doon sa retirement plan ni Mr. A na ang nagmamanage si trustee. Tatawagin natin siya as fair value of plan asset. Ulitin lang ulit natin. Hindi, yung fair value of plan asset, hindi yan yung total na na-contribute ni Mr. P. It takes form. Okay, part nun, yun yung na-contribute ni Mr. P. Kasi possible, pero possible kasi na merong profit na na-incur. Merong unrealized gain, merong unrealized loss. So yung 600,000 na total contribution is not equal to the fair value. Kaya tandaan mo, fair value of plan asset tayo. Okay tayo? Okay, ngayon, si Mr. P, makikipagtulungan yan sa isang actuary. Yun ngayon yung actuarial assumptions. Si actuary, ang ginagawa niyan, ini-estimate niya. Ilan yung employees mo, Mr. P, as of this year? Nasa 100 po employees. Ilan yung umalis, or last year, ilan yung umalis? This year, 10. Ilan yung bago? 10. So total, 100 lang ulit yung employees natin. Okay, i-assume natin magkano ngayon yung present value ng 1 million pesos na pre-namis mo sa kanila. Okay, si actuary ang gagawa nun, hindi si Mr. P, si actuary. Si actuary ngayon is an independent firm. Okay, pwede yan tao, pwede yan company, independent firm yan, hinahire yan ni Mr. P para si actuary yung mag-estimate magkano ba yung present value of defined benefit obligation ko doon sa pre-namis ko na 1 million pesos. Ngayon, si actuary magbibigay ng valuation. Yung valuation na yan, tatawagin natin siya as present value of defined benefit obligation or PVDBO. Shortcut na lang. Okay, PVDBO. Present value of defined benefit obligation. Sir, bakit present value? Bakit kailangan pa nung actuary? Iyang pre-namis ko nga, 1 million pesos eh. Bakit hindi yung 1 million pesos yung total na obligation na i-recognize ko? Hindi yun. Kasi lagi mo tatandaan, long term to. Merong time value of money. Yung 1 million pesos na babayaran ko kay employee tomorrow is not equal to the value or is not equal to the 1 million peso value of my money this day or today. Okay, merong time value of money. Sino ulit gagawa nun? Si actuary. Merong valuation si actuary. Hindi na natin pag-aaralan kung paano ine-estimate ni actuary yung present value of defined benefit obligation. Ang maganda ngayon kay Mr. P, mag-aantay lang yan, maghaantay lang yan ng amount na galing kay actuary, yun na yung PVDBO natin. Okay? Dalawa na ngayon yung terms na kailangan mong tandaan. Meron tayong fair value of plan assets. Meron tayong present value of defined benefit obligation. Ulitin lang ulit natin difference. Si fair value of plan asset, yan na yung total value ng asset na ininvest mo or nung fund na ininvest mo kay trustee na para kay Mr. A. Okay? Yung present value of defined benefit obligation, yan yung total liability na babayaran mo kay Mr. A the moment na mag-retire siya. Okay? Yung total value. Present value. Ngayon, yung PVDBO and FVPA natin, these are not recognized and is not part of financial statement. So, bakit kailangan ko pa kayong hanapin kung hindi naman yan lalabas sa financial statement ko? Kung hindi ko naman yan i-recognize? Kasi kailangan mo daw yung i-compare. Okay? I-compare mo daw. If yung obligasyon mo is mas mataas or greater than doon sa total asset na contribute mo, meron ka ngayong deficit or meron ka ngayong liability. Kasi kulang yung na-contribute mo doon sa obligasyon na babayaran mo. Ngayon, yung kulang na yan, yung liability or yung deficit na yan, tatawagin natin yan as defined benefit liability. Yung difference ngayon ng PVDBO and FVPA, yun yung i-recognize mo. Yun yung i-recognize mo. Yun yung lalabas sa financial statement mo. Okay? It should be recognized. Nakuha mo yon? Okay, what if yung present value of defined benefit obligation is mas mababa doon sa FVPA? So, mas mataas na yung asset mo kumpara doon sa liabilities mo. So, meron ka ngayong surplus, meron kang prepaid asset. Ang tawag ngayon doon, defined benefit asset. Okay, meron ka ngayong asset. Sobra ngayon yung na-contribute mo. But always remember, this defined benefit asset na magre-reflect sa statement of financial statement natin, it must never exceed the asset ceiling. Meron tayong tatawagin na asset ceiling. Okay, yun lang daw yung total asset na kailangan or na pwede mong, yun na yung total asset na pwede mong i-recognize sa statement of financial position mo. Para lang, syempre, let's say for example, para maging conservative tayo. Kasi yung present value naman natin dito, hindi naman yan yung exact amount na babayaran mo in the near future. Estimate lang din yan actuary natin. So we can therefore conclude that the defined benefit asset is the lower of the surplus, yung sobra, dito sa PVDBO, tapos sa FVPA, and the asset ceiling. Okay, whichever is lower, siya ngayon yung defined benefit asset. Whichever is lower, yan yung i-recognize mo sa statement of financial statements natin. Statement of financial position or financial statement mo. Okay, ulitin ko. Yung present value of defined benefit obligation and FVPA, hindi yan lalabas sa financial statement. Ano yung lalabas? Yung difference lang nila. Kaya i-compare mo sila kanila. Pag mas mataas yung obligasyon mo kaysa doon sa asset mo, meron kang deficit, meron kang ngayong liability. Pag mas mataas or mas mababa yung liability mo or yung obligation mo kaysa doon sa asset na na-contribute mo, meron kang surplus, meron kang asset, meron kang defined benefit asset, but you must always remember na hindi dapat tataas yung surplus natin or yung defined benefit asset natin doon sa asset ceiling. Kaya yung defined benefit asset mo is the lower of the surplus and the asset ceiling. Okay? Diba? Dali lang to. Pag na-master mo, madaling-madali lang ito. Ngayon ka lang, nalulula na naman kasi ang dami na namang concept na tinuturo ni sir. Pero balikan mo lang ulit. Pag nag-solve tayo mamaya, madali lang ito. Okay, ngayon, sa defined benefit plan, kailangan din natin isolve si defined benefit cost. Uy, yung defined benefit cost parang familiar sa akin yan. Narinig ko na yan kanina eh. Saan mo narinig yung defined benefit cost na yan? Saan mo narinig yung defined benefit cost na yan? Dito yan. Long-term benefits. Defined benefit cost. Ito ngayon yan. Okay? Sa defined benefit cost under post-employment benefits or sa defined benefit plan natin, meron tayong mnemonics. SNR. Ano ba si defined benefit cost muna? Okay, defined benefit cost, yan yung total cost na i-recognize mo this year. Okay, yan yung total cost na i-recognize mo this year kasi yan yung naging movement nung defined benefit liabilities and defined benefit asset mo this year. Okay, meron tayong mnemonics S and R. S stands for service cost. Ano yung service cost na yan? Yan yung total service cost na nirender sa'yo ni employees. So, kung total service cost yan, meron kang service cost yan na binigay sa'yo ni employee or nirender sa'yo ni employee. So, meron kang additional expense. Meron kang additional obligasyon. Okay? Kaya, part siya ng defined benefit cost natin. Nakuha? Kung total or kung additional obligation yan, so, additional cost yan. Kung additional cost yan, yung service cost natin na yan, addition yan sa defined benefit cost natin. Ngayon, si service cost, tatlo yan. Meron tayong mnemonics ulit. C, P, A. C stands for current service cost. P stands for past service cost. And A for any gain or loss of settlement of defined benefit obligation. So, isa-isahin natin. Okay, isa-isahin natin kung ano ibig sabihin yan. Yung current service cost na yan, let's say for example, okay, wait lang ha. Let's say for example, the year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Year 1, Year 2, Year 3, Year 4, and Year 5. Nandito na tayo, currently. Nasa Year 5. Okay, yung obligation, yung service cost ni employee or parang sa yung monthly contribution mo is nasa, let's say for example, or yung service cost ni employee is nasa 10,000 pesos na lang. So ibig sabihin, meron kang nire-recognize na expense of 10,000 pesos each year. Okay, yung 10,000 pesos mo na sa year 5 na to, yan yung current service cost. Okay, kaya tinawag na current. Okay, kaya tinawag na current. Meron kang expense, bakit? Kasi nag-render ng service sa'yo si employee currently sa year 5. Nakuha mo yon, current service cost. Para mas ma-appreciate mo si current service cost, i-differentiate mo sa past service cost. Ano ngayon si past service cost? Let's say for example, yung current service cost natin, lagyan na natin ng isa pang example dito. Let's say for example, before, Year 1, Year 2 hanggang Year 4, yung kino-contribute mo is nasa 5,000 pesos. Okay, 5,000 pesos yung kino-contribute mo ng Year 1 hanggang Year 4. Year 5 sabi, ay sige, kailangan kong para mas marami akong maging employee, tataasan ko yung retirement plan ko from 1 million pesos up to up to 2 million pesos. So, nadoble. Kung nadoble, kailangan mo mag-contribute ng mas maraming pera. So, from 5,000 before, naging 10,000 today. Yung 10,000 ulit, yan pa rin yung current service cost mo. Bakit? Bakit ka ba kasi nagbayad? Okay, bakit ka nagbayad ng service cost? Kasi nga, merong nag-render sa'yo ng service currently. Yan yung current service cost mo. Para mag-reflect, before 1 million pesos, after, dapat 10 million, nasa 2 million pesos. So, kapag hinayaan mo na 5,000 pesos yung binayaran mo last year, short ka. Okay? Ano sabi daw? Para mag-reflect, para makuha natin yung ma-avail natin yung 2 million pesos, kailangan mong taasan yung past expenses mo before na 5,000 pesos. Dapat gawin mo din yan 10,000. Same yan sa current service cost mo ng year 5. So, dapat daw ito, 10K din daw lahat ito. Kaso hindi mo naman na pwedeng baguhin yung financial statement mo last year. Hindi mo na pwedeng baguhin yung expenses mo last year. So, anong gagawin mo? Yung adjustment natin na yan, na magkano? Magkano adjustment mo? Kung 5 before, 10 ngayon, so magkakaroon ka ng 5,000 additional dito. Tama? Sa 4 na taon. 5 times 4, 20,000. So, meron kang 20,000 dito. Bakit ka nagkaroon ng service cost na 20,000? Kasi nag-render ng services before. Dati. Past service cost. Yan ngayon yan. Okay? So, basically, meron ka lang test na itatanong dito. Bakit ka nag-service? Bakit ka nagbayad ng service cost? Kasi may nag-render sa akin ng service this year. Current service cost yun. Bakit ka nagbayad ng service cost? Kasi may nag-render sa akin ng service last year. Kailangan ko lang i-adjust. Past service cost yun. Okay, yun ngayon yung sinasabi dito. C, tapos sa P. Current service cost and past service cost. Tandaan mo ulit, defined benefit cost yung pinag-uusapan. So dito, yung current service cost, additional cost yan. Past service cost, additional cost yan. So addition tayo dyan. Okay? Ano yung A ngayon? Any gain or loss or settlement of defined benefit obligation. Yung gain or loss na yan, ito. Merong times na, meron kang FVPA. Meron kang defined or meron kang present value of defined benefit obligation. Ito yung obligation mo. Yan yung liability mo. Let's say for example, yung liabilities mo dito, 1 million pesos na. Yung na-contribute mo, nasa 500,000 pesos pa lang. Merong nag-retire. Merong nag-resign. Yung nag-resign ka, yung obligation mo doon sa nag-resign is nasa 200,000. So, babawasan mo yun ng 200,000. Magkano ito? 800,000 na yung ending balance natin dito. Saan mo kukunin yung 200,000 na pinambayad mo? Dito, kay FVPA. Let's say for example, yung kinuha mo sa FVPA na pinambayad mo muna. Okay, muna is nasa 100,000 pesos. So, magkano ending balance mo dito? 400,000. Ito yung sinettle mo na obligasyon. Ito yung binayaran mo. So, meron kang 100,000 na. Anong tawag natin dyan? Ito yung obligation mo. Ito yung binayaran mo. Meron ka ngayong gain. Kasi mas mataas yung obligasyon mo kaysa dun sa binayaran mo. So, meron ka ngayong gain of 100,000. Anong gain yan? Gain on settlement. Yun ngayon yung sinasabi dito. Any gain or loss on settlement. Okay? Tingnan mo na naman yung pinag-uusapan. Computation ng defined benefit cost. So, kapag loss, addition. Okay? Kapag gain, since gain yan, bawas yan sa cost. Pag gain, deduction. Nakuha mo yon? Kapag gain, deduction. Kapag loss, addition. Sa defined benefit cost. Yun ngayon yung sinasabi sa service cost. Yun yung sa S natin. Okay? Punta natin yung N. SNR tama, N tayo, net interest. So, ano meron sa net interest natin? Sa net interest, meron tayong 3 ulit. Mnemonics lang ulit natin, I, 3 I lang tayo dyan. Okay, meron ka nung interest cost. Ano yung interest cost na yan? Interest expense yan ng present value of defined benefit obligation. Okay? Kasi yung defined benefit obligation mo, syempre, merong time value of money. Nag-present value ka dyan. Pag nag-present value ka, meron ka nire-recognize na interest expense kasi nga nag-amortization ka dyan eh. Yun ngayon yung sinasabing interest cost. Interest expense, interest cost, additional cost, so defined benefit cost tayo dyan. Okay, yung interest cost na to, interest cost yan ng beginning balance ng present value of defined benefit obligation. Tandaan mo na lang muna. Mas ma-appreciate mo yun pag nagsosolve tayo ng problem. Next ay natin interest income naman. So pag interest income, deduction ulit yan sa defined benefit cost mo. So deduction tayo dito. Okay? Interest income ng ano ngayon yan? Interest income ng, ito yan oh. Tama, ini-invest mo yung fair value of plan asset. merong interest na na-earn dyan. Okay, yung interest income daw ng beginning balance ng fair value of plan asset mo, yun ngayon yung interest income na pinag-uusapan dito. Kaya nga net interest tayo dito. Next, last ay natin, interest on the effect of asset ceiling. Okay, ano nga yung interest ng effect of asset ceiling? Mas ma-appreciate mo yung pag nag-solve tayo ng problems mamaya. Meron tayong problems na naka-specify dyan. Pero yung basically, sinasabi lang dito, tama yung surplus mo dito versus yung asset ceiling mo, merong difference. Let's say for example, mas mababa yung asset ceiling. So mas mababa yung surplus. So merong effect. Let's say for example, yung surplus mo 100 or 100, tapos yung asset ceiling mo 70 pesos. So yung i-recognize mo lang 70. So yung 30 pesos, yan yung effect. Okay, yung effect of asset ceiling, i-interest mo daw yan. Yun yung sinasabi dito. Okay tayo. Okay. Ngayon, next natin. R, remeasurement. Sa remeasurement, tatlo lang ulit yan. Meron tayong mnemonics, DAD. Okay, DAD. Ano yung unang D? Difference of interest income and return on asset. Ano nga yung difference? Ano yung ibig sabihin yan? Yung interest income ko, alam ko na yan. Ito yan. Ano yung return on asset? Yung return on asset yan yung total increase ng fair value of plan asset mo during the year. Yung total increase na yun, hindi lang naman nanggaling yung sa return on asset. O hindi lang yun nanggaling sa interest income. Possible nanggaling yun from unrealized gain or unrealized loss. Unrealized gain or unrealized loss, ano tawag doon? Remeasurement, part yun ng R natin. Yun yung D natin. Okay, ulitin ko yung total return on asset mo sa fair value of plan asset mo, hindi lang yun nanggagaling sa interest income. So, yung variance or yung difference dun sa return on asset versus dun sa interest income, yun yung difference of interest income and return on asset, which is part daw siya ng remeasurement. Okay? Next, actuarial gains or loss. Yung actuarial gains or loss, si actuary nagbibigay niyan. I-differentiate mo lang ulit, magkano yung present value versus dun sa ending balance, yun yung actuarial gains or loss natin. Yan yung A natin. Part ulit ng remeasurement. Nag-remeasure ka, kumbaga. Okay, D, difference on interest on effect of asset ceiling and change in effect of asset ceiling. So, yung interest dito versus dun sa naging effect ng total asset ceiling mo during this year, yung difference doon, yun din yung pasok sa remeasurement. Dito, nag-remeasure ka lang ulit. So, bakit kailangan mo malaman, differentiate yan? Tandaan mo, sa defined benefit cost, usapang post-employment benefit, lahat ng service cost, lahat ng net interest, papasok yan saan? Sa profit or loss. Tatawagin natin yan as defined benefit expense. Pag narinig mo yung defined benefit expense, yan yung service cost and net interest. Yung mga remeasurement, saan papasok yan? Sa other comprehensive income. Uy, yun na yung sinasabi kong difference dito. Sa long-term benefits. Sa long-term benefits, anong sabi? Accounted for like post-employment benefit except that all the components of defined benefit cost are recognized in profit or loss. So, sinabi dito kasi nga, meron tayong defined benefit cost, dalawa yung pinupuntahan. Merong profit or loss, tapos merong other comprehensive income. Sabi daw, pag long-term benefits, wala na yan. Okay, lahat daw ng defined benefit cost, mapa-remeasurement, mapa-net interest, mapa-service cost, saan papasok daw? Sa profit or loss. Yun lang yung difference nila. So, kaya nga sinabi ko, pag alam mo yung post-employment benefit, agay, basic na yun sa'yo si long-term benefits. O ha? So, yan lang for defined benefit plan. Ngayon, last na to, na concept. Merong instances na nagpapa-reconcile sa problems. Pag sinabi nagpapa-reconcile, hinahanap kung magkano yung ending balance ng present value of defined benefit obligation, tapos ending balance ng FVPA natin. So, magti-T account lang tayo pag hinahanap yung ending balances nila. So, PVDBO tayo. Siyempre, meron kang beginning balance. So, pag meron kang beginning balance, nasa credit side yan. Bakit nasa credit side? Kasi nga, si defined benefit obligation, from the word itself, obligation, liability yan. Okay, possible magkaroon ka ng additional obligations. Ano yun? Yung current service cost. Possible magkaroon ka ng additional obligation. Ano yun? Yung past service cost. Nasa credit yan. Okay, nagkaroon ka ng interest expense. So, magkakaroon ka na naman ng addition sa defined benefit obligation mo. Nasa credit yan. Pag nagkaroon ka ng actuarial loss, o nagkaroon ng loss, additional obligation, nasa credit din yan. Baliktarin naman natin, pag meron kang actuarial gain, nasa debit. Nabawasan yung defined benefit obligation mo. Or kapag nagbayad ka ng defined benefit obligation, nasa debit din yan. Okay, tapos pag nakuha mo yan, tandaan mo lang tong T account natin na to. Makukompute mo yung ending balance natin. Okay, beginning plus current service cost plus past service cost plus interest cost plus actuarial loss less interest gain less any payments or paid ending balance of defined benefit obligation. Sa FVPA naman, asset yan, so nasa debit yung beginning balances natin. Possible magkaroon ka ng return on plan asset. Remember ko lang, ipapaalala ko lang ulit sa'yo, yung return on plan asset na sinasabi, dalawa yung pinupuntahan yan. Pwedeng interest income, pwedeng fair value changes. Bakit kailangan mong i-differentiate? Kasi yung interest income saan pumapasok ulit sa profit or loss, yung fair value changes saan papasok ulit sa other comprehensive income. Ito yan, yung unang I dito, ay pangalawang I dito, tapos yung unang D dito. Yung unang D, ito yan. Yung pangalawang I, ito yan. Okay, return on plan asset pero is a debit sa FVPA natin. Kuha, meron kang additional contribution, part yun ng FVPA, addition yun. Tapos nagbayad ka, yun ngayon yung credit natin dito. Ending balance natin is FVPA. Ipapaalala ko lang ulit sa'yo, yung ending balance ng defined benefit obligation mo and yung ending balance ng fair value of plan asset mo, hindi mo yan i-recognize sa financial statement mo. Bakit? Ang i-recognize mo lang kasi yung difference. Iko-compare mo yan. Pag mas mataas yung obligasyon, meron kang liability. Pag mas mataas yung asset, meron kang asset. Pero yung asset mo, yung defined benefit asset mo, it must never be higher than the asset ceiling. Kaya surplus versus the ceiling, whichever is lower tayo. Okay tayo? Yun lang muna sa concepts ng employee benefits. Proceed ka sa part 2 ng employee benefits natin. Discuss natin yung mga problems. Yun lang muna. God bless, good luck, and ciao!